Well, hi everybody. I've come out in what is an absolutely stunning morning, a kind of in-between morning, an in-between morning in terms of it's not quite the winter and it's not quite the spring. There's certainly a sense of in-between somewhere. What's clearly happening is that nature is preparing itself. It's in transition, if you like, to the spring. There's bird song, there's a beautiful sunny morning, there was frost when I first got up. But what's clearly happening here is that the nature, if you like, the earth that we live on has got confidence about that transition because it will move into a new phase. The land somehow or other knows what to do. There's a belief, there's an expectation that the transition will find its way into springtime and beyond, of course, summer. But where we are, it seems to me, is we've been in an economic winter, and who can say right now that we're in spring? We're somewhere obviously in between. But unlike the world around us, unlike nature as it were, where there's absolute faith and absolute belief, a sense of knowing that transition will positively take place, who can say right now that we positively believe that spring is coming? I sense, quite frankly, that people are still in fear about that transition coming to fruition. And so I've been asked recently to do a one-day event by two promoters, one in Ireland and one in Glasgow. And what occurred to me was I could do the traditional one-day version of MindStore. But what Klaus and I in Germany have been deciding to do with this is to work at maybe providing something different, something that acknowledges some of the things that I find is going on right now. As I've been speaking to chief executives and senior directors of the major companies that we're working with, without exception, what they're looking for is their staff to take more ownership, to take a sense of responsibility, a much deeper responsibility, expect them to be creative and innovative, to work in collaborative teams. And yet, while they're asking their people to do that, those of you who are in that situation, you know fully well that you're living in a world that's in transition. We're experiencing fears perhaps of global terrorism. We're looking there not really confident about the economy. We're finding ourselves worried about even natural disasters. It's been a fairly interesting time. And set against all of that is the possibility of the individuals expecting, of course, to be more creative and innovative, to take that responsibility, that ownership. And yet everybody, even those, I suspect, those CEOs, those senior directors at times are asking themselves, am I capable? Will it work out? Will I be able to stand up and perform at my very, very best? Can I do this? In other words, we've got lots of self-doubt. People are perhaps moving around in a sense of controlled fear. And so what I wanted to do with the one day was to actually, as we acknowledge this transition we're in, and help us to transform, to help us to get through it, and probably look at some of these fears that we have and find tools and techniques, as ever with MindStore, that allows us to find maybe our core self, that confident, really, really self-believing self. Acknowledge that part of us that is in doubt, but that part of us in doubt is actually helping us. It doesn't want us to risk, it holds us back, yet if we allow it to really control us, we never move on. Equally so, that dreamy, that part of us that looks to the future, that expects much, much better, that somehow or other we need to find that, yet balance it. And that's what this course will be about, helping us to find a balance, to find a trust, tools and techniques to help us to build with confidence a future where we believe we can really take the transformation and become someone that in their own terms prospers, that adds value, that feels they're making a contribution, of course feels valued, and as it were, love yourself and be confident. And I'm really excited about it because as we've been throwing around the ideas, as we're looking at some of the techniques we're willing to work with you on that day, it will be different. There'll be obviously much of what people would expect from MindStore, but many more tools and techniques. And I believe if you attend the day, you'll leave inspired by your own abilities, confidence in yourself, real confidence in what you have, and more importantly, as it were, tools and techniques to deal with the kind of doubt that you may have as we go through the transition. And hopefully by the time we get to the courses, which will be in late May, early June, that much will have changed. But we will have that ability to dig deep and thrive. And I look forward, therefore, to seeing you there. I'm going to have a great time sharing it and teaching it and facilitating it. Hope to see you there. Obviously what I want you to do is to immediately book online immediately now and be part of it. Share this with your colleagues and friends, family, encourage them to come with you. No point in changing yourself if all around you others aren't. No point in having tools and techniques that allow you to do well if you go back to colleagues and friends and family knowing somehow or other they're missing out. Hope to see you there. Bye now.